like you. Be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one. Only one. I was an ordinary boy until I broke the rules my life destroyed.
All right. How's everybody doing tonight on this Wednesday evening? Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to my channel. My name is 12 Gauge. I am your host. This is my channel, 12 Gauge Investigative. I hope you guys are doing well. If this is your first time here, I hope that you hear something that you enjoy, something that keeps you coming back, and something that keeps you invested in the 12 Gauge Nation. Anyways, I thought I'd get on here and just kind of see how everybody's doing. Don't really have a lot of plans tonight. You know, I can talk about anything, so I thought I'd just get on here and see how true crime is doing tonight. If there's anything um abnormal happening in the true crime world. And my eyes are really like blurry. I just got out of the nighttime. So gonna keep these on for a minute. Anyways, I don't know if you guys checked out the upload that I put up earlier where I was talking about the window and the sounds and how it pertains to travel on the camera. That was an upload and that wasn't live. So if you caught it earlier, you probably saw that I did have a little bit of stuff, a little bit of understanding of what I was talking about. So let me pull that video up just a little bit so we can have something to talk about. I'm gonna keep the volume down. Like I said, that I uploaded it, so I know exactly what I was talking about on it. So I don't need the volume up. Let me pull up YouTube. Let me say hello to some of you. Aquarius, how you doing? Rondi, how you doing? Justice, Stevie B. How is everybody doing tonight on this Wednesday? The week is half over. Hope you guys are doing well and that your week is going fantabulous. Because you know what? Nothing's worse than having a bad week. Every day should be a great day. Every day should be a wonderful experience with all that we enjoy in this journey we call life. And let me go right here. What do y'all think about the new intro? Y'all enjoy it? Y'all like it? When I get too caffeined out, my eyes get blurry. So that's why I got these glasses on. So if you see these eyes on me, don't be hating. Congratulate your boy. Anyways, I just got back into town. I was out with the family and I was doing some shopping, doing all that good stuff. Had us some Raising Canes. I don't know if you guys have ever eaten Raising Canes. Y'all know what that's all. That chicken is delicious, man. It is awesome. Awesome. Yeah, the haircut is I got my haircut today, so it's kind of fresh. I do it weekly, so it's good to go. Let's go ahead and talk about this. Some window things. Let me find it. God, I have so much stuff going on here. I want to talk about the King Road house and I want to talk about how sound travels because I think it's very, very interesting to me to wonder exactly how people get the information that they receive from a crime scene.
Hello,
You
Dina.
know, because it's interesting to me to think if I was researching a crime scene, I'd want to know the most I could about all the situations involved.
Would you now, if you were investigating a crime scene, 12 gauge, what would you want to know? What would you want to know?
How are they going to prove without a reasonable doubt that a crime was committed and this person was the one that did it? And if you can't do that, then you don't have sufficient evidence to take this to trial and gain a conviction. You don't.
Exactly.
What you have is just circumstantial, where it looks like it could be evidence.
But like we talked about last night, as far as circumstantial evidence, even circumstantial evidence can convict you. So when people get it twisted and they talk about, nah, it's only circumstantial, there's not enough evidence there. Circumstantial has convicted a lot of people, and it's also it's harder to prove once you get a lot of circumstantial plus regular like DNA or witness statements and stuff like that. It's hard to prove. It's hard to prove because it's not like you go to trial and you're sitting there and you're like only having so much evidence that you have to defend yourself against. It's like they're telling a story. They're telling a story. 12 gauge with 12 gauge, exactly. Look at that haircut right there. Had it kind of short right there.
But it really isn't. It's just circumstantial. So I found the video that I wanted to play.
Yeah, I didn't want to play this video because it was talking about heat, and I didn't want to talk about heat. Let me get to the King Road part of it because I thought this was interesting when I was talking about this earlier.
I know in many pictures this right here is a sliding window because you could tell in some of the photos of the police cam that this window was open most of the time. So I would venture to say that Xana's room was the same thing because it looks like the same type of window. These windows down here they don't necessarily look like storm windows. It looks like one ply windows, and the same on the upstairs. The point that I'm trying to make is this: would that camera 1112 King Road be able to capture the thud, the dog barking, and the whimpering based on the ply of the window?
So, what do y'all think, guys? Do you think that those windows played a role in the sound being able to travel outside? You know, well, I'm not really talking about anything tonight. You don't have to run off, Aquarius. I'm just talking about the windows because I played this before and I wanted to speak a little bit about it because I got to thinking about how thick these windows were and how pliable that sound would be um to be able to be heard at the 1112 house on that camera. You get what I'm saying? Like, did that camera really pick up as much as we thought it picked up? Did it really pick up what we thought it picked up? And that's what I was talking about right here. Let me get to this part because I do a lot of talking in between there. Okay. All right. So you tell me how to permeate through this window right here and through these walls. You can hear whimpering and you can hear a thud. Hey, Swamp Rose, how you doing? And how you can hear a thud.
She's not in the house.
How
She
you
was in the
can
house then.
hear the dog barking from up here through these walls. Right. And this camera would be right here. What I'm trying to say is this would be at least 50 feet, right? So what I'm trying to show the audience here is if right there by the doorway, that's where this camera would have been. And it looked like a light bulb. It was a black light bulb type camera. So what I was trying to say is if the camera is facing toward King Road down here at the bottom, how did it pick up sound that was obviously in a house? And obviously the dog was in Kaylee's room. It would have been barking. That slider would have been closed. How would it have picked up all that sound through not only around this little area with this little house part over here? How would you have gotten that clear of to hear a thud, to hear a dog barking and a whimpering? Okay, let me get to my email. Thank you. Yeah, I saw you in the chat and I was wondering if you were going to get that to me. Because I really don't talk to AR, and if you gave it to him, I haven't received it. So do y'all get what I'm saying here? It's how I'm not saying that that's not possible or that didn't happen, but to be that far away, and if the wind, I mean, maybe the wind was blowing that direction, then the sound would have carried. But if the wind was blowing the other direction, how could you hear the sound at this house if the wind is blowing away from the camera? I don't know if that makes sense to you guys or not. DB Tate, I don't know where you sent the email to. Where are you at? Hey, AR, there you are. I didn't get it, DB. So I hope that you sent it to the right email. So y'all get what I'm saying? AR, you get what I'm saying, right? As well. If that camera is right there, how could that sound that was coming from this house be picked up by this camera? Especially if the wind was traveling side to side or if it was windy at all. It had to be a still kind of night to be able to hear the sound. Because think of it like this. Have you ever been outside on a night where it's windy and you hear sounds off to the side of your house, but as you're walking, the wind is really gusting, but you really can't tell where the sound is coming from? Have y'all ever heard, do you get what I'm saying here? How was this camera able to pick up those clear of images that they're saying that it picked up? I get that. I get that. But the camera is on this side of the house. That's why I'm wondering if there's another camera on the other side of these houses that we're not being told about. Because if there's a camera right here where this blue building is, these little blue building where Hunter lives, if there's a camera around back, like there's a little patio back there, if there's a camera back there, or if there's a camera back here in the 1112 in one of the windows that we're not really being told about, how would you be able to hear all that so clearly? I'm just amazed by all that. I mean, I know that that probably doesn't mean a lot to you guys, but I've been thinking about it and thinking about it, and that's why I presented this video earlier because it makes you think. Yeah, you say my neighbors are really close to me that the houses in my Ring camera don't pick up like that. Okay, that would make sense. There being another camera. That's what I'm saying is maybe we're not being told about another camera. AR, are you still in here? There you are. I believe there was an audio camera in the bag, just an opinion, but it seems logical. Yeah, because I mean, I'm not trying to say that this camera didn't pick up anything. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that, the night would have had to been pretty still, which it could have been, to hear that clearly because this camera is facing away from the house. I would have thought that there would have been a camera at the back of this or the back of this one in order to catch all that sound that was coming from this home. Like if you were sitting on this patio, think about this a little bit. If you were sitting in some chairs right here and you heard some noise up here on this balcony, unless if the wind was blowing away from you, that noise would be traveling another direction, maybe toward the back of the house. It wouldn't be traveling toward this patio. That's all I'm saying. And I'm just bringing that up just for conversational value. I'm not trying to create conspiracy or anything like that. I'm just bringing it up for conversational value. Yeah, I mean, a whimper or a thud, like a whimper to me is really low key. You know what I mean? Like when somebody's whimpering, I wouldn't think that whimper would be very loud. And if that whimper is loud, then the people in the house heard it, would be my understanding. Here, let me type my address again. And that's all I'm saying about this camera is that it would have had to be a calm night. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I don't know. They said that it was overcast, that it was cold, that, it was cloudy. It'd be nice to know what kind of wind coverage there was during that time. Sometimes video goes down and only audio records, or the camera is pointed elsewhere, but the audio still okay. That I could see that. I mean that's the only reason that I brought this up today is because I thought, you know, back when I did this video, and this was a while back, this was a long time when I did this video. I thought to myself, man, what if those windows, Xana's room, those windows are too like weatherproofed, like there's two-ply windows, then that would give extra insulation for sound not to be able to travel out the front of the house. So how would you hear a whimper? Like a whimper sound to me like very low key, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Okay. So do you believe maybe Xana's room was open a little or Xana's window was open a little bit? You think maybe that's what. And what I'm trying to show you is like it just stated in the other on the Google website, it said depending on the sensitivity of the camera, depending on the sound quality of the camera, the microphone on the camera. Thank you. I'm doing quite well. I'm trying to get my thoughts formulated. um, Getting the camera in the motion where it could catch the thud. Because think about it. If you heard a thud, unless it hit this wall, the sound would permeate toward the camera. If the thud was heading toward the window, the sound would be more like amplified forward rather than sideways. The same thing with the dog. If the dog was toward the slider, then the sound would have to go through the slider, out the back, and somehow be caught at a distance. I'm not saying that they heard on this camera, or even if this isn't the camera that captured all this. I'm saying that the sound would be muffled. It wouldn't be as clear as if you were standing in the front of this house. Evening Aquarius. You get what I'm saying, guys? If you were standing here on this porch right here and you were talking, this camera would catch everything clear. Walk down these steps and probably 3 to 5 feet out into this driveway. The sound would still be okay, but depending on which way you were facing, your tone would be going in that direction, and it'd be going either away from the camera microphone or toward it. So what I'm trying to say is, based on what this camera supposedly captured, if this is the camera that captured that, I'm trying to decipher in my mind how clear these sounds were. I'm not saying that it didn't happen. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that didn't happen. I'm just trying to figure out how clear and how loud these sounds would have really been. Because you really can't. Let me catch up over here. He said, where I live, we usually don't hear people in the driveway, but people driving up the canyon over a mile away across the canyon is loud and clear. Of course, based on the acoustics, right? But do you have a camera that has ever captured that sound? Was it as clear as what you hear? That's what I'm trying to say. Is I'm not trying to discount that this camera caught anything or didn't catch anything. I'm just merely trying to say that I'm kind of questioning how clear or how loud this would have been. They say it was like a fishbowl, at least for Linda Lane sounds. Okay. Swamp, would you like to come up for a little bit?
She said no.
I mean, it really does make a lot of sense as far as what I'm thinking is the sound would be directional based on which direction the event happened. It's kind of like, have you ever, let's say there was some construction going on, okay? There could be some construction going on in the back of this house. You could be banging on some sheetrock or something, but it could sound like the construction was 2 blocks up based on the acoustics and how the sound travels. I was merely trying to point out with the window thing in the very beginning, which I didn't show the right video, so it wasn't able to really get the point across. But what I was merely trying to see is the front of the house. Let me go back to the King Road house.
Okay. I was showing that, and since we're talking about cameras, I've just got an email from DB. Thank you so much for sending that to me. Let me give you a little insight on this. I've been talking about this 52 camera for a long time now. I've done multiple videos on it. I've even was wrong about the 710 house. I know I saw a Ring camera being discussed on those little apartments early on, but since I can't find any footage or any kind of video that shows that camera being directly across from the 1122 house, I don't even want to talk about that anymore, because until I find some footage that shows what I'm talking about. I don't like to discuss things that I can't show the audience exactly what I'm talking about, if that makes sense. That's why when I was looking at this camera and I posted the other day about the 52, I know that I've seen either in a video or a still shot, I've seen policemen at this step right here and they were looking at this area, but that doesn't mean anything unless I can find that picture. You know what I'm saying? So, um, and I was looking at these doors because I was looking at the Gray Hughes video again today. And what's so freaking confusing about these doors is some of them don't have any numbers on them. And when you look on the inside, the numbers are so way off, like you wouldn't think that 30 something would be on the upstairs and the bottom would be like 1 through 10 on the inside. There'd be like 15 over here, 20 over here. I mean, it's very difficult to find this apartment number 52. And I don't know if that's what makes it so confusing. Like, I wish there was somebody in that area that could go and find that apartment to actually show this is the apartment that's written in the PCA or this is the building. Because I've also had some other insight, and I also talked about it in that video I was just showing about this building right here that I'm about to show you. And this is some of the stuff that DB just sent me. So I used to have this diagram, but I appreciate you sending it. As you can tell, I'm not going to dox whoever's name was up there because we really don't need that part of it. But you know, me and Golf Inspector were talking on that video that I was just showing that I uploaded earlier, and we were talking about this. We thought that this was the 500 Queen and the apartment 52 was right here on one of these doors. But you know, I spent a lot of time, a lot of time slowing down the video, zooming in, slowing down, rotating the camera. And that's what's so awesome about that 360 video. If you haven't looked at it, you need to go look at Gray Hughes 360 video because he walks around and you can literally see all this area zoomed up, you know? So I don't know if that camera that I showed or if that's even a camera that I showed, but it looked like a camera to me the other night. I wasn't trying to have clickbait, but I was excited because I remember seeing that that photo that I just showed you, and I was excited. You know, I didn't put it out to try to make people click on my video to get views or anything like that. And I've been researching this for a long time. So it wasn't the first time that I ever saw it or researched it and I put it up here so y'all could, you know, go crazy with me. You know what I'm saying? So um yeah, maybe she could do that. That would be awesome. But I haven't really been able to talk to her. Um so I've been trying to find this apartment 52. I mean, I've heard different theories. I've heard it's up here at the corner where it said where the C is up here, where it says camera, where the C is. I've heard that this is where the 52 is because there was policemen with the blue light right here looking over here and at nighttime. You know, I've had theories that it's been over here in this building that actually there's a camera facing this parking lot. So that's why it saw so much of the turns and the car riding by. But all this makes sense in my mind to think, okay, it has to be in this little corridor right here. Because the only thing this camera right here, if you're using logic, the only thing this camera would have caught, unless it was facing the house, would have caught the car driving by multiple times and possibly even parking. But
If this camera caught the car parking and it was facing this direction, it could have caught him getting out of the car and walking up to the house. And that's what I'm wondering, if this is where the camera is, you know? It just makes me think, because that camera is important for some reason. It's more important than the 1330 and the 1320, in my opinion. That camera right there, number 52, is more important than any of the cameras. 13 or 11, 12 is important, but I believe 52 got most of the footage that they're talking about in the PCA, as far as him going around, starting at 331 and ending at 407, and then speeding away at 420. So if the camera was right here, where it says the speed right here, and it was facing this direction, it would have seen the individual get in his vehicle and speed away. As you can remember in the PCA, it talked about the car, even at one of the turns, or one of the times that it was going around the house, that it even tried to go into the driveway, got stuck, backed up, and then went down Queen Road right here, went up to King, did the 3-point turn, and then came back down and around for the last time. So I was wondering, if the camera is right here, then it saw a lot if it was facing this direction. If it was facing the back, then it probably didn't see a lot. But if it was up here, then it saw the car doing all kinds of turns and all this other stuff. And even possibly, if it was facing the direction toward the 1122 house, it would have seen the car driving by. And if the camera was right here where I thought it is, and it was facing the Queen Road house, or the King Road house, it would have caught the vehicle coming up and possibly going down. You would have seen no license plate and license plate, among some other things. But that's just my theory. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even know. I mean, these are just some of my thoughts. I'm not saying this as its actual fact. So I don't want y'all to say that, you know, this is what 12 Gauge said and he's stating it as a fact, because I'm not. I'm theorizing with you guys, because we like to do that on this channel, right? See, here's another shot. And I've seen this map on Reddit. And this is where they say the Queen Road apartment 52 is. But as you can tell, it's double. There's double apartments. There's a door up here, a door down there, a door right here. There's like six doors right here. So I don't know if they're duplexes, where the room's on top and you enter the door and there's a staircase. The kitchen's under the bedroom, and there's kind of loft apartments. I don't know if it's that. I've seen it on the website, but it's still not very clear, if that makes sense. What do y'all think? Chat, are y'all here with me? Give me some of your thoughts about these apartments. Do you think these apartments, have you looked at the floor plans? I appreciate you guys having pictures of this stuff. I really do, because when you get fixated on something, I don't know about you guys, but when I get fixated on something, kind of like that picture, I don't like talking on things that I don't have. And it aggravates me when I can't find the picture that I'm looking for, especially when I've seen it a couple hundred times. You say, apparently the long buildings are apartment 41 and the small building contains apartment 50 and up. Okay. But how did you know that, though? Because I've looked on these doors and I can't see any numbers. And I know back here in the back, see in the interior of these Queen Road apartments,
You see my mouse right here? Let me go back to the other picture. In here, on the top layer, they start at 35, 34, 33, 32, and then underneath it 24, 23, 22, 21. One starts right here at the bottom. 11, I think Jeff showed me earlier, or no, I showed Jeff earlier. 11 is on the back side. So how the hell could 1 be up here and 11 be back here on the back side? What's this? What are the numbers of these and what are the numbers of these? Do you get what I'm saying? That's why I wish there was somebody there that could take a picture of the 52. One of the ladies who responded used to live in the 52 building. Okay. Let me see if I can see it. Like my eyes are blurry right now. So let me see. Is it the first chat? Okay. Yes, the PCA state that the camera at 500 Queen Road, 52 captured the video of the white Elantra turning around. Nothing new happening here. She said camera location. So there is the 1330 camera. Well, let me look at the next one. It says, I tried to search, and I'm not trying to dox anybody, okay? This was sent to me. I tried to search this with the search to the forum and didn't come up with what I was looking for. Does anyone know exactly which apartment is apartment 52 that is mentioned in the PCA? Unit 52 is the smaller building that Lindsay circled above. The two long buildings with white roofs and smaller building with a white roof are all part of the 500 Queen Road apartments. The fifth units in the 50s are the smaller building units. 140-ish are the two longer buildings. Okay, white circled building on the right is 552. Left circle is 1122 King. So, okay, she circled this one. But what I'm saying is 52 a door? Or is it just the building number? Can anybody help me out with that? DB, did you understand what is meant by that? Does anybody understand what was meant by that? Because I understand the building is 500. I get that. Because here's Queen. Hold on. This is Queen. So if this building is 500 Queen, which one of these doors is 52? That's what I want to know. And then it said blue circled building is where Linda Lane camera was facing toward number 52. Let's see what this one says. Blue circled building is where the Linda Lane camera was facing towards 52. So this is 1330. There's King Road. So they're saying this is the 500, number 52. So if that's true, then what they're saying is there's a triangulation here. There's a camera here, there's a camera over here, and there's this camera. And then there's the camera at 1112. That would be 4 cameras, right? What do y'all think? Give me some feedback here. Is there anybody in the chat? Unless the base travel on seeing headlights movement. And that's, I mean, you see all that on the Linda Lane footage. Atypically unique. So you see all that. So I wonder if this was just the camera that wasn't mentioned in the PCA. Because there was some business going on at this apartment. I can tell you that much early on. I can't tell you what went on because I wasn't there, right? I wasn't there. I wasn't, nobody gave me the stuff that was going on at that residence.
Okay, I've seen this before as well. This picture that you sent me. I've seen these before. They're just as confusing though. I mean, to me, you might be able to decipher them. Thank you, Nina, for that. Thank you. Um, but see where this car is. This car is parked right here. This car is parked right here. I was thinking that as the car came around here and the camera's right here on the Linda Lane camera, when it does that turn, when it comes in at 407, pulls up here, backs up, and then goes back around. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Everybody's in unison. We all know that, right? Yes or no? And this would have a profile on him if the lights were bright enough to illuminate inside the house, like the light shining forward or the brake light shining against the building would have illuminated the inside of the Elantra, because his Elantra didn't have tint on those windows. And I've argued with people about that. I don't want to say argue. I I've had discussions with people about his car having tint or no tint. And people are told me, well, how can you tell at nighttime whether a car has tint? Well, I have a video all on tint. And I even show an Elantra on there. So if you haven't seen that video, it's in my library. Well, yes, 405, 407, you get what I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to be that specific, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm curious too. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to go up there and just drive around till I find that damn apartment. I just hope I don't find Kane in the process, you know? I'll probably call him when I get there. Hey Kane, I'm a YouTuber. I'm not trying to cause any problems. You know, I just wanna find number 52. I don't want your word for it. I want a picture of the door with the number 52, and I want to know what direction it faces. Because look at this picture right here. Can y'all see the picture that I'm showing you? You know, I saw that video. Kane is grumpy. I'd be grumpy too, though. To be fair, I'd be grumpy too if I had all this traffic. Because imagine living at 1330 and you're coming home, you're wanting to go into your parking spot, and let's say somebody has parked in your parking spot. I used to live in apartments where they had those kind of bars, the awnings, and it used to infuriate me when somebody was parked in my spot or they were parked or lurking around where you couldn't get in. It's annoying. You just want to get in your spot, get in your house and chill, you know? But look at this photo, guys and gals. As I'm saying right here, this is almost a triangulation. If we got these two cameras facing each other, and then there's one at 1320, and then there's one at 1112. So there's a lot of cameras that capture a lot of stuff, regardless if it's nighttime, if it's daytime. If these cameras had any kind of ability to capture images, I'm sure the FBI or whoever was looking at these, they could get facial recognition based on other pictures or something of that regard. Um, they could do all kinds of imaging, I'm sure. I just don't know um exactly how clear that camera shot would have been. I think Kane had parking issues there even before the murders. He told me he hung up that no parking sign. The guy grabbed the 12. Gotcha. Yeah, I want to go too. I mean, I want to go in November, but don't look like it's happening. But I want to go eventually to, if nothing else, to just walk it and chill and actually get my own interpretation of where these cameras used to be or are, and to see the sounds. Because Gray Hughes did a wonderful job, and I don't want to keep plugging him because there's a lot of people that don't like him, but I believe that that video that he did with the 360 camera, that was the best one I've seen yet because he was able to you're able to go 360 direction. You're able to zoom in. You're able to see things that you don't see in other people's boots on the ground. You know, they're walking so fast or they're talking into the phone they're recording on or the camera they're recording on. They're not really looking at the building. They're looking at themselves in the camera. So it's difficult to really see a lot. I think this is interesting though. I mean, I know that you probably heard about these cameras already and it's nothing new. It's not earth breaking, but I think it's interesting to know exactly what these cameras caught. And I believe the 52 would have caught more than the 1330 because of the simple fact these trees kind of gave a barrier to, and this is kind of a slope downward. When you saw that vehicle go in at 40, 405, 406, 407, whatever damn time it was, when you saw that video go or that car go in there and it parked right here and then it backed up, you could hear it was having some trouble going up this slope. The ground was already starting to freeze over a little bit because the vehicle had to be accelerated a little bit before it took off. So on the last come around, you could tell that vehicle was coming with some aggression, with some speed behind it to get up this hill. So that time when he or she was backing up that vehicle, they realized my last time getting up this hill, I'm gonna have to give it some gas because I struggled a little while ago turning around. Wouldn't you agree? What do y'all think about that? No, I've never been. I've never been. I don't know if DB has or not. What do y'all think about what I just said as far as when the individual made the Elantra turn around right there and you could hear the Elantra kind of gun it as it was turning around and going back down Queen Road. When it came back the last time, which would have been 407, it came back with some purpose. And I'm not going to show all those videos. You can go to either Jeff H's. They're all over the place. Those Linda Lane videos are all over the internet. All you have to do is just type in Linda Lane, and you can see all these videos about Linda Lane and the vehicle making these passes. Because to me, it really doesn't show a lot. You can't see the vehicle clearly, but you can hear it. You know, Jeff even made some where, he made each pass on the time that it's stated in the PCA, and you can hear the vehicle sounding the exact same. Is that the vehicle though? I don't know. I don't know. But I do understand that it had to give a little extra gas to get up that slope. That slope that is right here. Because look how much of a slope this is. Even if it wasn't snowy, you'd still have to give your vehicle some gas to get up the slope because it goes all the way up and then around and then back down. Even on the other side, you can see. Let me see if I can see the other side. Let me see if I can see the other side of the house. Okay, this one's pretty descriptive. How y'all doing? Can y'all dig it? Is there anybody in here? Are y'all chatting? Are y'all chilling? What are y'all doing? You waiting on 12 gauge? What's going on? Like I was saying, you get up this slope right here, you got to give it some gas to come up this hill. And then you come around here, as you can see, and as you've seen on the other side of the Queen Road apartment, this slopes downward just as much as this one does. It's built kind of on a hill right here, and these apartments are kind of built up against the hill. The same thing with the 1122 house. This says the PCA state that the camera at 500 Queen Road, number 52, captured the video of the white Elantra turning around. Nothing new happening here. So this person said the same thing. So it'd be nice to be able to go there and get some footage, you know? Let me see what Jeff says up here. It says it can be seen driven eastbound on King Road, stopping turn around in front of 500 Queen Road and driving back westbound on King. It really doesn't say there's a camera at 52. So, Jeff, at the very beginning, this says it can be seen driving eastbound. How would this be able to be seen? I'm not trying to be funny, but how would this car be able to be seen and turning around in front of 500 Queen Road, number 52, and then driving back westbound on King? How would you be able to see that without a camera? Because this does say it can be seen. Who saw it? Unless somebody saw it. Unless somebody at apartment number 52 saw it, I would say there was a camera. But I could be wrong. You know? And that's another theory too, you know, we could probably mess around with, I guess. Maybe somebody saw the vehicle turn around. Maybe it wasn't a camera. That's what I thought. That's what I thought too, DB. I mean, but we're not saying that you're wrong, Jeff. I'm just saying that it said seen. So either somebody saw it or a camera saw it. You know what I'm saying? Like something had to be descriptive in relaying that kind of evidence. Hey Bree, how are you doing? Thank you for being here. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. So what I'm saying is either somebody or some group of people saw this car turning around or a camera saw it. So you're saying that there's no camera at 52? Well, I mean, I can take your word on what you believe. I just don't know why these people would say, like this person says, video footage. It says the PCA state that a camera at 500 Queen Road, number 52, captured the video of the white Elantra. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we can drive ourselves crazy trying to figure all this out. It says number 52 is past the apartments going parallel next to the house. If you pass those apartments, they have a building at the very end of the road you run into. It's only 2 stories instead of 3, but it is part of those apartments. The cameras on Linda Lane also has 3 different buildings as well, and that last building and those other apartments run parallel to the farthest back building. If you search Linda Lane on a map and bring the house into perspective, you can see a square parking lot past the house and parallel apartments right next to the house. The two different apartments share where he turned around, and it's literally the end of where you can go once you go down the street in front of the house. That's what that individual said. See, I always thought the camera would have been on this side, and then you would have had the 1330 and then the 1320. I believe, and this is just my own belief system, that if it was the 1330 camera, this camera's too far away to see anything. It wouldn't have been able to see. I mean, you can barely see the car driving by right here. How would it have been able to see anything down here since this is like a slope? That just doesn't make sense to me in my mind. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. I'm at the park with my son playing baseball. I'll be back and forth. Well, thank you for listening. It says, because remember, it's Queen Road and go to Linda Lane camera, not King. And I think King runs north and south, can be seen on King. Agreed, but they see the 1112 and see vehicle 1 pass prior. You could assume the car on other footage. Yeah, you're good, but I believe, and this is my belief, okay? I believe that there's another way that they saw that vehicle along that side of the building, whether it's that little building, whether it's the side I was talking about, or they wouldn't have even brought that up in the PCA. You get what I'm saying? It wouldn't have said that it made a U-turn in front of 52. So that's just my interpretation of that. Do you think a StreamYard link would work with me in the car? I don't know. Probably not. You can wait till you get home. You don't need to be doing all this stuff while you're driving anyways. That's just my suggestion. I mean, this is a great photo on it. Honestly, it is. Because it shows a lot of the route. But the part that I have problems with, because this is the 1320 camera right here. 1330 is right here somewhere. So you see these trees and all this shrubbery. What camera would have got that car going around the building? How would they know that that car went around the building all those times? How would they know that this car, because you can only see very minuscule parts of this car going, how would they know that this car looked like it did? They had too much description of the car to know that it didn't have a front license plate and it did have a back license plate. This camera, as you can see on the Linda Lane, you can only see headlights mostly. You can't see a lot of the vehicle. I could see how 1112 would have got the license plate possibly turning and exiting the location, or possibly doing the 3-point turn. You get what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying I believe that there's, like I stated before, I believe that there was more eyewitness stuff going on than we're even told. Because look at all the hell that Dylan got for being an eyewitness for what she saw. Just think if they would have put all those people's names in the PCA that saw this or saw that, they wouldn't have a moment of peace. And just think if those people were just outside smoking a cigarette or doing whatever outside, talking, drinking, whatever they were doing, and they saw this vehicle. They may have even seen the individual driving. because I've been, when I'm drinking in the past, I didn't like to be in a house. I wanted to be outside, even if it was cold. I didn't want to be locked up in a damn house drinking. I always wanted to be outside. And are people like me? No, they're not me. But I'm just trying to think that if you're a college kid and you can't smoke inside the house or you can't vape in a house, they make you go outside. So your friends are going to follow you outside. And we heard noises on the Linda Lane, so you know, I don't know exactly what a U-turn would have been because the car doing that turn that we saw on Linda Lane at 407, the last pass, it did a 3-point turn. It didn't do a U-turn. This is saying it made a U-turn in front of 52. There's a difference between a 3-point turn and a U-turn. You get what I'm saying? So if you're making a U-turn, you're just busting a U. Like you're having, your car just do this. 3-point turn, you're going, coming, and then going. So there's a difference. Why would they have put U-turn if he did a 3-point turn? You get what I'm saying? I don't know. I mean, it's interesting to think about because there's so much freaking stuff. Let me get back to the video and show what I was talking about. I'm sure all the pieces will make sense once we get to the trial. I hope so. Maybe we'll even see the camera or the people's names.
because they would have to present that as evidence. And I've yet to see that they would, because they wouldn't go out and say all the things that they say if they were like, but that's sort of a proof you really can't go around if that indeed if they had his car. So I wonder if I think the camera captured something, but now and there are too many things. I know I'm babbling, but there are too many things that tell me that they don't have his car. And here's another one. In the beginning, the owner of I think it was the owner of the other apartments that caught the Linda Lane footage. He
Okay.
has another building that's right there at the end. And that
Yeah.
building actually captures that area as well pretty good. And he came out and he was talking about he saw a white sedan come through there at, and I don't want to lie, but like let's say 2:45 and 3:15 because he had gone over all of his footage. And that
Yes.
was on, I think it was some Fox News or something online. I found that article. So
Yeah, let me pull
taking
this out because I have the picture right here.
So you take
Down
that,
there.
plus you couple that with the fact that they actually had the wrong car in the beginning. The FBI identified the wrong year. So I'm leaning towards that indeed might have been the other year car, so to speak.
Okay, this is the area that you're talking about. This
Yes.
first building right here.
Yes.
Because you're coming up through this road, it would have this camera right here looks down.
But that's not the
Yeah.
camera. There's another one. So he owns another building there. And I think it's actually so you
This
if
one?
if you look at the picture you were before,
Mm-hmm.
the way I understand it, the other one, no, the one with the camera on the side of the building that you just found, and you look towards the end of that road, there's a house that sits right there. So it's not one of these two, basically,
Okay.
facing the other
I think,
direction.
yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
It's this building right here.
Hold on, let me see. I don't want to lie. I think so because it faces down towards 1122 King. So he had that other camera that we looked at, the Linda Lane, and then he has another house up there, and he has a camera on that one too, facing a little bit down towards, I guess, that area, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's what he was saying, and he looked through like I don't want to lie, but like 16 hours or something worth of footage. He said, and
Wow.
yeah, he saw that it was.
This
Uh,
building right here.
I think so.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, because that was the one of the cameras that they first were they were talking about even before Linda Lane. They were
They were
talking
very
about this.
interested in,
Yeah,
yeah,
with this camera
yeah.
because
So
it faces out.
correct. So
This
that's what
camera, so this camera would have got that sedan that dropped the pic.
So as I was talking about right there, that's the 1320 camera that I'm talking about right there. Because at the very beginning, that's the first camera that we were notified as a community that, there was a landlord that had a camera that, had seen the white sedan driving. And it's so confusing when you're reading all this stuff and even when you're hearing it on the news, it's confusing because you think it's some other building than what it is. It's like, is it this building? Is it that building? Is it this building? What am I missing here? Where is this freaking camera? Where is this that it's talking about? It's very confusing. I mean, if you can get confused going inside the house and, taking a tour in the house, I get confused every time I show it. So I don't know how other people keep it all together, because when you start to really look at all this stuff, it makes you dizzy sometimes. Makes you dizzy because you're seeing so much stuff, so much repetitive information where you start to talk about it so much that it becomes confusing to you and you start blending in different pieces. Because how many times have you changed your mind on this case? Can you tell me that you've thought the same the whole time about this case? Like you've never wavered one time and thought, maybe the guy is innocent. Or if you think he's innocent, maybe the guy is guilty. Maybe he is guilty. Maybe they got the right guy. Or how, I don't know, one way or the other, whether he's guilty or innocent. So if you change your mind like that, how can you possibly state that there can't be different variations of the same evidence to get to the same result? Here's a picture right here I want to show you. I'm only showing you this because of what I was mentioning a while ago. Okay, this says it talks about, let me know if y'all can see my mouse, all right? It talks about the white Elantra coming around, down King, turning on the Queen, and right here at the edge, attempting to turn into the driveway, getting stuck, backing up, going back down Queen, going to the end of the road, making a 3-point turn, and then coming back up Queen, going around the apartments, and then finally parking the vehicle. I think that was the third or fourth time. So there was a time when the individual in this white Elantra was attempting to park in this driveway, and you got to ask yourself,
Why was that person attempting to cut that turn so damn close that he went into the driveway? Was he trying to miss a vehicle that was coming up the road? Or was he going to park in the driveway? I mean, what was he doing? Did he misjudge it? Did he have problems seeing at night? You get what I'm saying? Like, what could this individual have been doing to turn into this driveway? Nobody's saying anything about your communication skills. It's just hard to really understand a lot because when you're driving, you're not speaking, you're typing, so it's difficult to get your meaning. So, does anybody know what I'm talking about? What I'm talking about right now? Because at the bottom of this snowy embankment, there was a dumpster here. There was a dumpster at the bottom of this embankment, about right here. So maybe he was coming down this embankment too fast, saw the dumpster, thought he might have hit it, and cut it off early and ended up in the driveway. I mean, that's possible. Maybe he wasn't dodging another car. Maybe he saw the dumpster because, as you've seen in many of the photos, that dumpster is right there. Let me see if I can find a picture of the dumpster. Y'all know what I'm talking about as far as the dumpster, right? I don't really have to show that picture. Are y'all bored about talking about this? Because I can talk about something else. What do y'all think about that sheriff deputy that shot that judge in the chambers? Have y'all heard about that? That happened not yesterday, but the day before. What do you think about that? That's pretty wild, huh? I've just been paying attention to that very sporadically. And I believe that part of the reason that the individual did that is because supposedly the judge was having an affair with the sheriff's daughter. Is that true? Have y'all heard that, or what have y'all heard about that? Anybody? No, that's the dumpster on the other side of 1122. Right there on the corner. As you're coming off of King, that dumpster's right there. What y'all think about that case? You think that if the judge was having some kind of inappropriate relationship with an underage child, do you think that individual would justify to kill him? Do you think that he will be able to claim insanity? Or what do y'all think? You think he would justify to do that? What do y'all think? Said, yes, I was watching that. It's something to do with their daughter. They haven't said exactly. Yeah, she didn't answer, and then he picked up. Really? Let me put that up. Well, maybe that guy saw something. Are you shitting me for reals? There's the picture. You see that dumpster at the very top of the right here? This is the dumpster I'm talking about. As he's coming down here, I visualize that's why there was such a sharp turn right here. That's why there was skid marks on the pavement. I don't either, but after a while, it kind of, you can overthink a lot of stuff. You start getting to the point where you're just talking about the same thing, literally right across the street. Did he see anything that you know of? I mean, surely you had to talk to him about the case, right? Hey, PKC, how you doing? I don't think he did. I've been trying to get a hold of him to talk to him more, but he hasn't responded. He won't respond to me. I mean, we've talked about that as well, Jeff and I. If that individual in the white Elantra, I mean, I have a bunch of videos in the library. So I've been talking about this for a long time, and even before I even had an audience. So Jeff and I had some long conversations about this early on before I even had anybody in the chat. So, I'm talking about it right now because him and I have had some long conversations. And we were even talking about what if BK hit one of those trash cans and left some of his paint chips on the trash can? What if there's a ding in BK's car that, we haven't been told about and it matches the paint on one of the trash cans? You know? He did say he heard someone at the dumpster but didn't see anything. So what was he doing at that area sleeping in his truck? His son's girlfriend lived at 500 Queen. That is crazy. That is crazy. Paula, we're next time you're in Moscow, can you please go by Queen Road and find apartment 52 or at least the 500 apartment to see if you can see a camera to take a picture of it? I will send you gas money just for that picture. I mean, because he had to see or hear something, because that Elantra, if he was sleeping by that dumpster, that's like right almost at the scene of the crime, bro. That Elantra would have almost hit his truck. He doesn't want to talk about it. That's understandable. I don't know if I'd want to talk about it either if I was that close to a crime. I don't know. It's just very interesting to think about. But Jeff and I were speculating that as the white Elantra rounded that turn to go onto King Road right there, that probably overcorrected, went into the driveway, and if those plastic trash cans were there, then he would have hit one of them, or maybe even got out to pick it up if he knocked it over. And if he got out to knock it over, somebody would have seen or heard something. Do you get what I'm saying? I mean, that's just my thought pattern. But this is the morning of, right here, this photo. Because he went out drinking and came back late and didn't want to wake the kids up. Wow. When did you find that out? See, there's 11, 12 right here. Here's the camera still in place. See, that camera would have been facing King Road down here. So, as we've seen in other photos, it has a wide range to see. But I'm just wondering how it would have caught so much back here behind the house. That's what makes me wonder, you know? Okay. I tried looking for cameras the last time I was there. It was just getting dark. I had a hard time looking because I was so worried about hitting something. You're right. There's a lot of cars on that road. And that's why I wonder too, did that white Elantra sideswipe any of these vehicles? Did it have any of his paint on the white vehicles? I mean, there's so much stuff that could happen that night that we haven't heard of. You know, that's not beyond the realm of possibility. Trash cans were knocked over, but I've never been able to confirm it. But he won't talk to me about it. He stayed a few extra days because his son's girlfriend was so freaked out and barricaded herself in their apartment. Dang, that dude has almost front row seat to the crime. And you know what's crazy? It's hindsight, knowing that you didn't think anything like that was going on across from where you were sleeping. You know? It's his truck, that white truck that you see in some of the videos. Because there's a white truck that's right there by that dumpster in some of the video. I mean, not videos, but in some of the shots that you see in these pictures, you see a white truck. Let me see if I can find it. There is a white truck parked right there. I always thought that was the police parked there. I tell you, I can't find shit when I need it. I about don't even want to talk about half the stuff because I can never find it. And it pisses me off. It really does. Because I've talked about this so much, it's almost like I'm an old bullshitter or something, just talking about something that I heard somebody talk about because I can't find half the stuff that I want to talk about picture wise. Anyways, the next morning there was a white truck parked next to that dumpster. And I always wondered how that truck was parked so oddly next to that dumpster. It just tripped me out. I was like, man, that truck's like at a slanted angle. Maybe that was the police that did that. But now that you're talking about this, it makes me second guess that. Oh, it's a black truck. Yeah, the one that I saw in there parked there is white. You know, it's annoying. And here's some of the pictures that I was talking about the other day about that dog. And I found that picture. I'm like, good God. So what do you think? What do you guys honestly think about all this stuff? Could we talk about it so freaking much? Do y'all believe that they have enough, that they did a thorough enough investigation that they were able to get what they needed? Because many people think that a lot of the evidence that's been received is hearsay. Like they received the evidence by somebody else talking about the evidence. This is what I heard. They got this evidence through tips. They really didn't get this evidence through finding it, which I find wild, but you know, people have their own thoughts on it. It's very interesting. Very interesting to say the least. No wonder I can't find it. You know why? Because I wasn't even looking in the right folder. Maybe that's why I can never find anything, because I look in the wrong folders all the time. Oh, good Lord. What do y'all think? Over 52 gigabytes? Same sound problem as Potts had. What are y'all talking about? But do you really believe that he's on to it, or does he have a presentation that makes sense more than anybody else's, because he can put these stories together? Because as soon as I listen to one of his stuff, it's like Viviana debunks it, you know, and it makes sense what she says versus what he says, you know? So it's like, it's very confusing. I mean, I know people are going to believe what they want to believe, but I would think that I wouldn't believe, this is just my thought, okay? I wouldn't believe that the police would put things out there for people to have the evidence to potentially understand a crime such as this magnitude. I could be wrong. I mean, you could be right. I could be wrong. Here's a picture, DB, and I thought this was the truck you were talking about. This white truck right here. Because here's the dumpster, and here's the two white trash cans, or here's the plastic trash cans. See what I was saying? The PCA stated that he rounded this corner and went into the driveway, backed up, went down Queen Road, made the 3-point turn, come back up Queen Road, goes around the apartment, and parks. And then speeds off at 420 and a high rate of speed. And that's where I gathered that he made the tire marks, because the second time around, I would have thought that he probably forgot about the dumpster and saw it again and skidded out trying to miss it, and that's how those skid marks got there. But like I said, it's all speculation. You know, I thought that was, well, I'm not saying they're made up. I'm not saying anything about the guy. I'm just saying I've heard his stuff. You know, he has some interest, interesting theories. You know, he really does. But I'm just saying that if the police were that negligent to leave stuff out there for the public to figure out, then what's the purpose of the gag order? You get what I'm saying? And the reason I think about this is because when the Kansas moms went missing, they interviewed an FBI agent and they interviewed a police officer from the state highway patrol. And the reporter was asking them, "You don't have a problem with these internet sleuths or these YouTubers out here looking for evidence or looking for, these women?" And point blank, these two officers said, "We don't have a problem with that because we know that there's no evidence in that area that's useful to finding these women." You know what I mean? So I believe that everything that we've been shown and everything that we've been seeing up to a point, other than the documents, it's just to keep people busy to really not be onto really what happened. Because otherwise, what's the point of having a gag order? You know, what's the point in having that gag order if the evidence that we have been shown, such as Linda Lane footage, the Banfield, the four people running, these photos, the inside of the house stuff, all this stuff that we talk about all the time. If all this stuff was evidentiary and we could figure it out based on connect the dots, do you really believe that there would be a need for a gag order? They would just lift the gag order. They would just lift the gag order and say, well, let's just open it up. They've already figured it out anyways. Let's just open it up. But that's just me talking. I mean, I'm not trying to challenge anybody. I'm really not. I'm too tired to do it. But that's just my thinking. That's just my thinking. So, yeah, I don't see a black truck. I do see like a gray SUV, but that looks like a police vehicle. Who's they? Who's they? They are saying those cases aren't related, so no gag. I'm not following what you're saying. Can you explain to me who they is as well? Because I'm tired mentally. The court saying those cases aren't related, so no gag order. What cases are you talking about? The cases against Brian, of course. So how aren't they related? I mean, I'm not trying to say anything bad about that individual. I'm not going to call him names. I'm not going to, say anything bad about him. Because honestly, I haven't listened to his stuff. I listened to a little bit of it, then it kind of goes off into many different directions, and it's hard to pay attention to exactly the point he's trying to make. He repeats himself a lot, but I can't follow him. I really can't, and that's why I haven't really listened to him a lot. I know a lot of people enjoy his streams, and that's wonderful. I just listened to Viviana when she talks about the stuff that he does present, and she makes it make sense to a point that's more relevant than how he presents it. I mean, who knows who's right and who's wrong? You know what I mean? Brian is the suspect, so why gag after drug cases that they haven't connected? Why believe that there's no drug that there's no drug connection to this case? I have heard the Aryan stuff and I've heard all that stuff. I don't believe none of that has anything to do with this. I know. And like we agree to disagree, right? I hope you're doing well and your school year is going good. I really do. We have a lot of kids that are acting up right now. Yeah, we can change it up. Actually, I'm about to go to bed. I'm really tired. I just wanted to present to you guys a lot of this stuff because I presented it earlier, and it's hard to really discuss the upload. I know you guys are looking at it and you're kind of like, what's his direction here? What's he trying to get at? Where is he going with this? And I understand that. It's confusing. But you know what? I will also tip my hat that if anybody has been able to get certain things right and we hear about it and we hear later on that this happened here and this happened there and this is what they found and this part was associated and this and that and the other. I'm not a hater. Like I've said many times, I just want the right person, the right evidence to be presented to actually have some justice for these 4 kids. Because justice is not going to happen on YouTube. Because they're not going to take any of our information and present it in court, especially after we're presenting it day in, day out. How would that not be prejudicing? How would that not prejudice the jury? Do you get what I'm saying? How would that not be a prejudice to the jury? They went for a change of venue so they would have a fair trial. So if any of these creators, including myself, was presenting this stuff every day, how could they use any of the evidence that we're saying is the evidence and still give the man a fair trial? It isn't, it doesn't go that way. That's why, when people are like boom and bam and this and that and the other, unless if any of us had any relevant evidence, I promise you we'd be gagged. We'd be gagged. If any of us creators were onto something that was evidentiary for one side or the other, they would contact us, they would gag us, they would probably monitor our computers, they would do all kinds of stuff to make sure that we weren't talking about this case. They wouldn't let it go on and on and on. You know what I mean? They certainly wouldn't let us be talking about it every day. They wouldn't let us be showing our impressions of the case and this, that, and the other. And that's what 12 Gauge said. And that's all I got to say about that. I'm trying to remember the Stone Cold line. I watched that documentary, and I thought that was so cool how he said, "And that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so." You know what I mean? It's like, whoa, that was the coolest line right there. But um, yeah, you guys have a wonderful night. I'm gonna ask you a question before I get off here, though. I'm gonna ask you a question. You already know the question, right? Can you dig it? Can you dig this live stream tonight? Can you dig it? If you can't dig it, you need to get a bigger shovel. And I've been going pretty hardcore on all this stuff. I know I tell myself I'm going to relax a little bit. And I try. We'll see what happens. If you don't hear from me in a couple days, I actually kept my promise. I'm going to try though. I'm going to try. Till we see each other again, I hope each and every one of you stay safe and you have a wonderful day tomorrow. If bad weather's anywhere near you, please stay safe, seek shelter, and do the best you can. And I don't know what's going on with this toilet paper and water stuff, but if you need to get you some of that stuff, stock up. Stock up. You know what I say next, right? Does anybody know what I say next?